What ho chaps, I'm Magical Mike and this is my Iron Man series. Welcome back to Dirt Rally for this attempt at a hill climb up Pikes Peak, USA on the mixed surface, because the glory of video games lets us go back in time to the mixed surface before it was all just tarmac, and we're going to be going against the community up this 20-kilometer hill climb, which essentially is just a mountain of sheer terror and death. As you can see right there, it's about 50-50 versus tarmac and medium gravel. So we're just going to be going up the full course in the Audi Quattro. So here we go. Prepare yourselves for trying not to die. The goals of the Iron Man series are usually to not die. That's the point. As soon as you die, the video or the series just straight up ends. Now here it's quite forgiving, but there is definitely a death sentence if the game just decides, nope, you've gone too far off the course and killed yourself. Resetting will not count. And I'm going to allow that because I'm almost guaranteed to have to reset a multiple amount of times. So, here we go, we're going to be 11 minutes is the average community time for this circuit in this car. And two goals. Number one, just get there. I'll consider that a win if I make it. And number two is to obviously beat that time. Now, Dirt Rally is a bit of a sim. I'm using a gamepad, not a wheel, because I don't own one. I'm not that hardcore, but I mean, it sure does look fun, I'll give you that. So things are a bit serious. You're going to see me make plenty of mistakes, especially because I'm talking to you guys. You'll definitely hear me make plenty of mistakes. And this, what we're looking at right now, is the setup, which allows you to go into various amounts of detail, but quite frankly, I'm just going to let you look at it like that. We're just going to be going default, which is set up mostly for sliding around up the middle-ish to the top of the circuit. This is not set up well for tarmac from what I can tell. And believe me, I've tried this a number of times and I don't do well, so here's hoping that we can sort of do well here. Now, this is a rally game. I don't know if I mentioned that I have every assist off, because I've tried to record this a number of times and messed up many of those attempts. So no assists, and in this case, no co-driver, which means everything is quite blind. It's all up to me and my skill. So holding the handbrake, building some revs, look at that boost gauge. Oh, listen to it. Alright, letting go of the handbrake, and we're off to run one. Time has not started until I pass this gate, and now time has begun. So every time I go off the circuit, it is a 15-second penalty. So I want to aim to not do that. It will be in my best interests to not hit the crowd, not crash, not die, and be very careful here, as I already hit a tree there from a massive amount of oversteer into, you know, just being a bit too hard on the brakes there. You'll hear me feathering the throttle down at this section because, quite frankly, the tarmac has caused me so many crashes at this point that I just want to get through it without having to reset the vehicle. So I'm being extra careful. This car does not like tarmac, at least not with this setup. It doesn't, as I struggle with the understeer there and then snap oversteer, and again holding the brakes there to try and bring it to a safe stop. Not ideal, but at least I didn't hit anyone, and at least I didn't take 15 seconds to get back. Again, being super careful around here because feathering the throttle and being careful is the name of the game down here. Unless you're, I don't know, Sebastian Loeb or, well, I'd say Colin McRae, but quite frankly he was a lunatic as well. Don't know a whole lot about rally. That's essentially all of my knowledge of famous rally drivers right there, so have fun with that as we come to our first hairpin. Oh, that's not how you take a hairpin, but you know what, I'm going to take it, because last time I went up that banking and into a tree upside down. So you know what, I'll take the safe option in feathering the throttle to attempt to not die and to keep these slides a little bit under control. Alright, full throttle for the first time, hard on the brakes there because I know that this is a hairpin. Still not hard enough on the brakes, or maybe too hard, maybe I locked them, I didn't realise it. Honestly, don't know, don't care, onto dirt, so this is where I'm a lot more comfortable. it does mean that braking zones are gonna be much longer and scarier as we hit this hairpin uphill. Oh man, actually taking that with some level of finesse. Not really though, I'm not kidding anybody, that was not a good turn in any way, shape or form. Just being a little careful. Oh, going wide on that. Really just scared of that rock and unsure of how tight that turn was. Now I'd like to stick my car up the inside of these corners to turn it better, to help get it around them, but I'm just not quite getting in there, and once I get into a slide it's already too late to really do anything about it, because I can't force it too far inwards without risking massive amounts of oversteer. But you know what, getting it right inside there like that, which wasn't quite as well done as I thought, didn't need to brake for that corner, that was a flat out. It does help you turn the car, and as of yet I haven't managed to do that, just braking, being extra safe for this hairpin here, building those revs, keeping it in second gear. I should mention that I am using automatic transmission, so while I do have all the assists off, I do still have auto transmission, because quite frankly if I had to do this manually it wouldn't work. Oh man, not happy with that, too much traction going into that corner. But you know what, this has been relatively clean so far. I don't know how tight this corner is, it was tighter than I thought, so I'm okay with it. Oh, it tightens, it's tightening, really riding that edge there, trying to force my car back into the right direction. Careful those rocks on the outside as I slide slightly ever so sideways there. Losing all my revs in third here. With rally cars, the way I can best describe it is that you want to keep your revs up as high as possible to help give you, I wouldn't say traction around corners, but to help the car slide around them rather than slowing it down like that, which has caused me to crash into a bush and lose all of my momentum. So, back onto tarmac here. I'm going to be extra careful because I don't know if tyres are simulated carrying dirt or anything like that, but you know what? I don't want to risk it because it's terrifying. Now I know this turn is much tighter than it initially looks, just tapping those markers on the inside there as we come up to what I assume is a hairpin. Yes, just a quick tap of the handbrake there to keep it round, and that was actually fairly convincing for once. I mean, I didn't touch the apex of that corner. I know this turn is much more scary than I think it is, yet I'm off into the trees there. I probably smashed one of my wheel arches, which is not going to help my performance, but you know what? We're not dead, so I'll count my blessings while I'm still able to go in a straight line. And probably tone it down a bit. There's a technique in rally driving called 7/10, which is essentially driving at 7/10 of your capability, which I really should have taken heed of there, which, you know, I was about to, which is why I brought it up. But the idea is that it gives you more time to react to mistakes as I... Oh, please don't be stuck. Thankfully, four-wheel drive saving me from being stuck on those outside markers. I don't know why those are there. There's a crash barrier already. I didn't need it. So anyway, slowing down for this turn, still hitting that. Oh, not good. Stalling the car, come on, build some revs, get out first. Oh, again, there's so much to talk about here. This is the perfect candidate for a Scandinavian flick, but quite frankly I'm terrible at them, and they're terrifying, so we're just going to take it more carefully than I would normally. 7/10 is to give you time like that to recover from mistakes. See, if I was driving at 100%, if I was driving maximum attack, I probably would have just hit the crash barrier, gone arse over end and crashed and lost all of my progress in, you know, what would be my death. So there we go. Using the uphill nature of a hill climb here to help slow me down later than I would normally, going deeper into corners so that I can hit the handbrake to correct myself. Ideally I wouldn't be using the handbrake nearly as much, but I'm finding myself needing it, like right here, holding it there for a bit longer than I would have liked to, just to get the car rotated and into the right direction here. Feathering the throttle again. losing my voice. This is a difficult run, believe me, and I'm being very cautious around that corner because I couldn't quite see where the corner went, which was quite good because, as we saw as I rounded that corner, there were many boulders on the outside that I would have likely hit if I hadn't been way more scared than I needed to be. Maybe I was the right amount scared, I don't know, I'll leave that up to you to decide. Full throttle on this section, which I don't like the sound of because I can't see where this corner goes, just hitting the brakes. Oh my god, you can see off to the right there, there's just death if I go that way. There's a huge amount of dust there. I don't like quite how looming that cliff is. We're just going to ride it up there, not really doing the suspension any favours whatsoever. But you know what? Still not dead. Count our blessings. Colin McRae would be proud. He wouldn't be. He'd be rolling in his grave right about now. Let's just not invoke the McRae name for a 5th time, or however many times I've said it. Again, starting to be a bit more cautious. Can't see. Don't remember this part of the circuit. Ah, there was some runoff there. I could have been a bit braver, but you know, being careful, being careful. I know that this section is much scarier than it looks because off to the side there, which is where I've gone, I was hoping not to have to show you, there is that dip. Using the hill to let me slow down a bit easier, but it's not really doing me any favours because of the gravel. We're coming up towards the top of the hill now, from what I can remember. I did attempt a blind run of this, that was not a good corner whatsoever, just get back onto the circuit. I attempted a blind run of this, somehow deleted the commentary because I'm an idiot. Not to worry because this commentary isn't going well either, so you know what, probably not missed much. Coming around this corner nice and lovely. Stamping on the throttle a little bit. Being a little bit cautious. This looks like a full throttle section. Terrifying. Taking the inside there. There's just death. If I go outside there, I am just dead. But I don't like how looming this corner's going to be, so I'm going to be a bit careful there. Probably a bit too careful, but again, you know what, I'm not a brave person, and I'd quite like to get to the end there. Oh, that's a hairpin. We're going out into the rock field. That's a 15-second penalty. Is that the first one? That might be. You know what? Again, that's not too bad. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen. Can't see where I'm going. These crests are absolutely terrifying. Oh man. Looks like a hairpin here. Slowing down a bit too much, but then not enough because I decided against it. Oh, bad decision making. I wonder what the speed limit is. I think it's about 30 kilometers or miles per hour, and I've taken it way faster than that. Run complete. What did I get? A 10:15? That's like 45 seconds faster than I needed to be. Incredible. I would count that as quite a riotous success, apart from that one death near the end there and a few terrible hairpins. But apart from that, I think that went quite well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.